This is the second in a series of videos that I'm posting in order to highlight various features of my engine. If you've seen the first video, this scene should look familiar. It's more architectural walkthrough than game, but in time I hope to show more game-like settings. For this demo, I'll be focusing on some basic rendering features, and I thought a small, fairly detailed environment would be suitable. As I look around, I'm sure you've noticed that something is missing, so let me correct that. Yes, so there's the first item on my feature rundown, post-effect transitions. Now this could be any post-effect, doesn't have to be a dissolve. It is rather costly, and I'd recommend using it sparingly, but still, kind of nifty. Speaking of costly, as I wander around the room, you can see there are many reflective surfaces. All of the glass, the granite countertops, the formal dining tabletop are all planar reflections that essentially involves re-rendering many of the models from different angles. This is not something I would do too much in a game environment, but I think it adds a lot here. Also, I have a blurry post effect that is applied to some of the reflections. I have to say I'm glad I recently added this zoom feature. It makes it so much easier to focus on the details and the textures. As you can see, all of the panels are very readable. The smaller reflective objects use sphere maps, but they are dynamic, which means that if the lighting has changed, they're automatically updated to match. That brings up the next thing I'd like to show, and that's lighting. Now these lights are static and use pre-rendered shadow maps, but I can control their colors and states. So here I am turning them on and off. As you can see, I've got a flicker effect applied to the two kitchen lights. I can turn off the fridge light, but that's a bit too spooky for me, so I'll turn it back on. We're getting some pretty cool lighting from outside streaming in through the cracks in the blinds, and a bit of translucent glow through the blinds as well. There is also emissive light coming from the panels on the microwave and the electronic equipment. If I turn on the TV, you can see that I have video textures, and there is emissive light that matches the video. I'm now going to take a bird's eye view of the scene and turn the lights back on because I wanted to show one more thing on these mirrors. As I move around, you can see some of them changing or turning off because they are making use of LOD, or level of detail. Although the models in this scene are not using LOD, the reflections are. That's how I can have a scene with 7 reflective surfaces and maintain a decent frame rate. Of course, you ordinarily would never see the room from this perspective, but if that was what I wanted, it's pretty easy to tune the transitions so you don't see them. One last thing I'd like to showcase is the depth of field effect. In general, I think depth of field looks too strong in most games, but one scenario I can think of where it really works is from a mouse eye view. It reminds me of a macro lens on a camera. I can imagine some fun games that use this point of view. This concludes the demo. I've been focusing on shaders, simple lighting, and post effects. In my next, I will be showcasing real-time lights, shadows, and more.